Hey guys, welcome to the Instant Reaction post-match show on the 110 Football YouTube channel. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at @It'sJessino, and I have Vince here with me as well.
Wait, Jess, I forgot. I made a promise. I said, if we win, I will wear this hat. And you know what? I may never take it off. You love this hat, right?
I mean, if it helped us win the game, then yeah, maybe it's a good luck charm.
I mean, that doesn't sound like a ringing endorsement, but I'll take it.
I mean, hey, LAFC 2.
I'm going to give this hat
Nope.
to the man of the match.
Okay, do that. Let's see if they'll take it, though.
Yeah?
See if they'll take it, though. But yeah, so we won the game 2-0. I mean, not really the prettiest win ever, but does it matter?
No, not as good looking as this hat. Everything's going to be about this hat. No, I agree with you. Look, it doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter. That's 2 wins in a row. First time this season. That's incredible. Yeah. I think you hold on in a game where, they were creating a lot of chances. They weren't exactly good chances. Like, they were shooting a lot from angles that was like, we were blocking a lot of shots, giving up a lot of corners. We will say this, their corner defense was pretty good in this game. I think there was only one real scare. But the biggest thing for me is you're down 1-0. It's ugly. You're away from home. It's humid here. It's gross. And then you find that second goal, and you literally killed the game. Like, how nice was it to sit there and just a stream of Austin fans leaving the stadium? They knew what was up. They knew what happened.
It was nice. And really, for me, I don't care if it's an ugly win. I don't care if it's a nice win. We just need to get the points away from home. It's been a roughish season, and I feel like they just need a little bit of confidence, and hopefully that's what this game gives them.
Yes, absolutely. Look, remember we said 10 days off.
Right.
Man, it would suck to have 10 days off if you lost that game after being 1-0 up, after you, like we said, you scrapped to get where you got. It was a tactical battle. I think we're going to get into that tactical battle apart, but that maybe didn't make it the prettiest game.
100%. So let's roll into our headlines, and I think I'll let you go first.
That's the way you cap it off. No? Come on. It's all hat stuff today. Oh, okay. No, but legit. Again, I think that was probably, other than the Austin game at home, the very first game of the season, which was very much a gifted goal to them, they actually worked this second goal, where Carlos Vela to Diego Rossi, strong finish. I think in other games, Rossi maybe doesn't finish that, because our finishing hasn't been great. So to be able to weather the storm, to get the 1-goal lead, really fight through all the tactical battles. It was rough out there. The ref did you no favors, but they were able to overcome it and just kill the game. That's LAFC I'm used to seeing, killing the game. Hopefully we can roll on from there and maybe score more than 2 goals in a game for once. But I want to get your take. So what is your headline from this match? And if you could do a hat pun.
I'm not going to have a pun at all.
Okay.
But essentially, 2 ugly away wins makes Jessica a happy girl. I just think, when I first started watching LAFC play, I thought, they play really nice football or soccer. And, the passing was so great, it was so fluid. But I never really saw the ugly wins really come. Mm-hmm. This is what make or breaks a really good team. They have to be able to win ugly, and 2 away wins, the way that they did that, even with Carlos Vela not really touching the ball that much, I think we'll touch on that.
Yeah.
I think shows a good foundation for a very strong team moving forward, even though they're going through a period of adversity.
Well, that point, your other love, Jessica Black of the She Knows Arsenal podcast, podcast and Twitch and YouTube. You do everything. Your other love, I know an Arsenal team is known for being, especially over the years, just a pretty team. And I would say they had some grit to them when they were the really good teams. But lately, they haven't maybe found those ways. Like, they haven't necessarily been pretty all the time. But really, expound upon maybe how an Arsenal team could use a little bit of grit like that sometimes. Like, just what that means to a team's confidence.
Yeah, when you can win without the pretty stuff, that means that you have something about you. And even if you don't have possession, it's important. Mm-hmm. I think LAFC only had about 40% possession.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the ball, you have to be gritty, you have to press, you have to be willing to do the dirty things. And I saw Latif Blessing, Sifu, Murillo, Kim, every single player working even off the ball, and that's important because you're not always going to have the ball. And if they can add this to their game and then get back to what they were doing last season with the pretty passing and the flowy moves, this could be a really good team.
yeah, if LAFC can finally put those two pieces together, be really difficult to beat, be someone that you just don't love to go up against physically because you know they're going to outcompete you for every ball, or at least compete for every inch. But then there's moments where they get that little bit of space, they get their head up, and then they could just pass you off the pitch. I mean, in this league, there's not many teams like that. So I think that's incredible. Speaking of people working, you were screaming at the pitch. Like, you were working those guys.
I was screaming. You guys, I'm not a good watcher. I'm really, really not a good watcher.
She's actually really fun to watch it with because she does scream. and in an opposing stadium where we were surrounded by green and black.
Okay, let's not talk about that too much.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and roll into...
Were you talking about the hat again?
No, we're not.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the stock rising, but from the viewers, what you voted for. So, from the poll, it looks like your stock rising from the viewers at home was Cifuentes.
Good call.
Very good call. I mean...
This is before the match, too, so...
Very much so. I think he started off that good faith with the fans with the last game, with his last goal, and then he came straight into this game and got a goal as well. I think when I watched the game, I thought he was a bright spot in a team that was really struggling. Do you kind of agree with that as well?
Oh, I mean, look, it was all those good things that we said, the fight, competing for every inch, willing to do the extra little things to just spin out of trouble, to not give up on plays. And then there was some beauty in there from DJ Horns. I love DJ Horns. Not as much as I love this hat. It's all going back to the hat.
Vince, what's your stock rising?
You know what? I'm going to leave the Jose Cifuentes to the fan. I think we both are, so we're going to do something different so the fans get some extra takes from this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Raheem Edwards. In his first start, I finally saw a Raheem Edwards that I think put it together. Like, he knew his role on the field, and man, he played a little saucy at times. Like, he ran by guys. I love the touch around, the little figure eight. Do they still call it that? I remember I'm old.
I'm not sure if we call it that
around
still.
No? Okay. Well, you touch around, you run past a guy. I think he did it to two guys on one play.
I mean, I think he was the person that got called for the foul, right, on the goal that got called back. And
Don't remind me.
Well, yeah, I think we'll talk about that a little
Yes.
bit later. But I did think he played really well, and maybe it was the role as a wingback. Maybe it gave him something a little bit different to do.
Yeah.
As a wingback, you're not really tasked with having to score goals. You're just really there to facilitate possession, and I think he did that well. He kept the ball really neat and tidy, and also beat his man, on the touchline when he had a chance. Kim Moon-Wan did the exact same thing,
Yep.
and I'm not quite sure if Bob Bradley is looking to move to this system full time, but I really like the wing backs in this particular formation.
Yeah, when you have wingbacks that at times can receive the ball maybe all the way to the touchline, and maybe there's a guy up on them, but they can eliminate that guy. That's so important, and not many teams have that guy like that in this league. LAFC right now in this match had on both sides. They had two players that are almost impossible to dispossess, but have the bravery to say, I can go forward at times. Yes, there's a man 2 yards in front of me, but the way this ball came to me, I got to create something to get my team sparked, to get them moving forward, because you beat that one man, it's like everything else starts to move. The pistons start going, and then you start finding more space.
If Bob does want to move into the system a little bit more in the future, what I would like to see in the next couple of games is maybe Kim Moon-Wan and Edwards getting forward and creating overloads in wide spaces that might help Carlos Vela and Diego Rossi, who I feel like struggled a little bit to get into the game to really push the momentum forward, because if you're not going to play with numbers in the midfield, you need to make it up somewhere, and maybe it's in those wide channels. So I actually liked it, and my stock rising was the wing backs in this system. So we kind of hit two birds with one stone, but
Yeah.
I actually liked it, and I thought it was a nice change and a different look to the LAFC team that I'm looking forward to maybe Bob Bradley expanding on in the future.
I like where you're going with them finding moments to get high and wide,
Right.
because I don't like when my wingbacks are always coming, especially when they're not. Like, it's one thing when they're in the line of five, that's fine, but when they're in that kind of no man's land in midfield where they're not really a wingback and they're not really a forward, that's when you start to see problems. So you want to either see them cutting out passes so they're getting ahead, or you, like you said, a little bit of possession. But I want to ask you, was that a symptom of the midfield? Was there not? Were they not just? Was it less so the wingbacks not being in the right space, and more so they just didn't feel safe going forward? Because they go forward, you got that guy behind you, leave all that space for you.
Yeah, I think in order for the wingbacks to feel a little bit more secure to move forward, they maybe have to have a little bit more security in the midfield and in their center backs. So I think that'll take time. If you're going to move to a new system, it's probably good to be a little bit more conservative. We've seen even like Gareth Southgate with England, very, very conservative, but in the final, of the Euros. So there's nothing wrong with being conservative as long as you expand on that going forward. And I think if they continue on with this, just rejig the midfield a little bit, get comfortable, figure out a way to get Diego Rossi and Carlos Vela more engaged in the game. And I think you have something a little bit different in the league that people aren't really doing.
Yeah. I like where you're going with difference, too, because, in that second half, when Austin started to kind of turn the screws a little bit, for me, it was Dominguez. He vacated that 9 position. It was coming really deep, finding pockets, and he was really overloading the midfield. And there was times where both Raheem and Moon more so, were saying, well, I'll pinch in a little bit. I'll no longer go wide, and we'll go man for man there, and I will crowd you out. And then when they started to crowd them out, they were starting to get on the ball more, and then Dominguez was kind of like, all right, that was it. That was my last chance, my last idea that I had there. But I think they snuffed it out. And I know a lot of fans will talk about LAFC and say, they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So that's why they wanted a formation change. I love that even within the formation, the players can know I can do something different if I need to. I can make a play if I have to.
Exactly. Well, I agree with that, Vince. I may not agree with the hat so much, but I definitely agree with what you just said. So let's move into our stock falling section. What do you have for that?
First of all, I love the Price is Right music. I always have to compliment it. My stock falling is VAR. I hate talking about referees just because, 1, I think it's not fair. 2, it's boring. 3, who wants to talk about referees? Like, no one cares. But in that match, that's a foul that you either call or you don't. And you call it live. And sometimes it's a foul, sometimes it's not. So where is the clear and obvious nature of that? Like, you're literally trying to find something and you're only looking at it because there was a goal scored. To me, that's not the correct use of VAR. Look, we won the game, so no harm, no foul. But this ref had a little bit of a shocker for me, and it was from VAR. It went all downhill because I feel like he didn't even call. It was like he did the VAR and he was like, I'm gonna just take some time off. The guys no one likes me very much here right now, except for the Austin fans. So just some makeup calls and just sit here, not do anything. And then in the second half, he really made himself known. I don't think he had a grasp of the game.
I don't want to call him out or anything, but it just kind of looked like when the Austin fans started to get on his back, he seemed to cave just a little bit. It definitely wasn't a foul to me at all.
Can you blame him? It was really like
it was loud.
We could give a little credit. Like, what your experience in this building? I know we're doing stock rising, stock falling, but we got to be in Austin, guys, and this building's pretty incredible. It's pretty beautiful. But Jess, give me your take on it, because I feel like if I was in the center there, I'd be terrified too.
I think so. I mean, there's even, referees that have said at Old Trafford, in the English Premier League, that they cave to the fans being so loud and so aggressive, yelling at him. And I felt a little bit of that, but I'm an LAFC fan. I don't really care.
And you're definitely not a United fan.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not a United fan. So, maybe he caved to that and we still won the game, but ultimately VAR kind of left a little bit to be desired, and I think in this league it's used pretty well, but this was definitely a shocking call. I
agree. Actually, it is used pretty well, but I am on record as saying there was things that MLS needed to do to become a better league, and then they've done a lot of them. It started with the stadiums and with buying into the real soccer culture and buying into like the fans and the supporters. Then from there, better players. Third thing was coaches, better coaches. Look, it's one thing to have better players. There's still going to be this gap between the best player on a team like a Carlos Vela and your youngest guy. So you need coaches that can coach up that talent. But the last thing that we need is better refereeing. You can't have a guy like a Carlos Vela. You can't have guys like Carlos Vela in this league and have refereeing that doesn't know how to either protect them or just give the flow of the game and force defenders to defend the proper way. I feel like we're lacking that. There's still, like as you said, a lot to be desired. VAR usually is pretty good though, so it was a bad night for VAR. But go ahead and hit me with your stock falling. I took the big one. We talked about this in the elevator, so I apologize for stealing the big one.
No, that's fine. I mean, you will owe me something, maybe a drink later or something, but it's fine. We'll let it go. I don't want that. But so my stock falling is actually going to be Carlos Vela in this particular system. Not Carlos Vela the player. Obviously, he's a tremendous player and he's our guy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for LAFC to be a really good team, he has to be more involved. I'm very interested to see what his touches look like in this game. I'm pretty sure it was pretty sparing. He really wasn't getting on the ball. And in this system, if you're not going to have a big number 9, you know, knocking the balls down, or runners in behind that are going to be able to carry the ball a little bit further into the corners and out wide, I just feel like you need to figure out a way to get him more involved. And it just felt a little like he ghosted through the game. He got a little bit better towards, you know, the second half. But what did you think about Carlos Vela's, you know, how he was kind of ghosting into this game, and how we can get him more involved in the future?
He was frustrated. Like, he was really frustrated. He was asked a lot in the first half, and I think he did his job well behind the ball in the first half. But by the second half, he was like, guys, can you find ways to get me on the ball? Because he wants to influence the game as well. And he needs, Bob Bradley always says this, Carlos Vela is at his best and is unplayable when he can get on the ball moving. When his head is up, it's almost impossible to take the ball from him. His balance is second to none. His decision making when he's got, you know, some space ahead. But man, they literally were resulting to, like you said, sending it long or hopeful balls to Carlos, hoping it sticks. He's always got a man at his back, and it was a guy like Cascante who's really getting at you. So I thought in the second part of the second half, I remember he walked over to Bob Bradley. I don't know what they said, but it looked like Carlos started to drop deeper and let Diego stay up high, let Cifuentes crash up high. And I think Bob was saying, look, start high and immediately come down. See if you can just get on the ball. And you said it to me. He's like, well, maybe he can create from there, but at the very least, win some fouls, win some possession. If it's 1-0, we get out of here. He kills off the game. We'll take it. But as he dropped deeper, he was able to find the angle, able to find that assist, and as we said, Diego Rossi finished that ball off.
Yeah, this is not to be harsh on Carlos Vela. We obviously love Carlos Vela, but he just needs to be more engaged. He had great pass accuracy in this game. You know, he did get involved towards the end, but ultimately, if LAFC want to be one of the forces in this league, they definitely have to get him more on the ball. So that's maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit because we did win the game.
I think that's 100% fair, because the way you put it, like you said, Carlos is good. I mean, the understatement of the day.
Good.
His hat's great, right? No, I'm sorry. I had to do it. No, Carlos is obviously a very good player, but to your point, there's times when I think it's one. It's both, right? Carlos is not engaged as much maybe as he can be. He's just not able to find himself in the game. Teams are definitely game planning for him, and they're trying to be rough with him. And then his teammates aren't finding him in the right spot. So we need him to influence games. He is the best player in this league, bar none. I mean, even when he's not good, he pulls what he did and gets that assist. But he has to influence games, and he cannot do that with a man at his back or the ball going over the top and him just trying to run in behind.
I cannot disagree with that. Hopefully, Bob and the team can figure out a way to make him more influential throughout the game, and we'll see how things go. So we have another show for you guys on Friday, so make sure you're here for that.
Debut of Jessica Black on the 110 Football Show on Friday. She's going to be on the desk with me, so you're not going to want to miss that show. Will the hat make it? Do we know?
I don't think the hat will make it, you guys. But make sure, you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything. And let us know what you thought about the show. Comment in the section below, and we'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.